Hey everyone, this is Rachel, and today I'm here with a new scrapbooking process video. Thanks so much for joining me here, and I hope you enjoy. If you could flick me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome, and I would love it if you would become a subscriber. You can also click on the notification bell so you always know when I have a new video up. Alright folks, let's get going! Hey everyone, I'm here with another process video. Today I've got a double page layout and I'm working on a challenge to work with 6x6 paper pads. Now I like 6x6 paper pads, they just don't necessarily lend themselves to my easily working with them. So I decided to work with this Scrapbook Generation sketch. It was a free sketch. I'm trying to block Ms. Xanthi here. So it's available on their website. If you go under downloads, I think it is, and then free sketches. There's a whole bunch of different ones you can get, and you can probably also find them on Pinterest as well. So I have 7 photos. They are not necessarily the exact same as these particular photos, but I think I have a way to work around it. One thing I have to say is I will be moving in about a month and a half, and I've started packing up my scrap room, and one of the things I've already packed up is my triple banner punch. So I'm going to have to hand trim out all of these banners. So I will show you how I do that when I don't use a punch. Yeah, so that's going to take a little time. Fun. All right, so I'm going to be working with the Basic Gray Urban Luxe 6x6 paper pad. I also have already pre-pulled some die cut pieces. When I do a double page layout, I tend not to do a ton of embellishing just because I do have so many photos. And since I'm going to be working with a bunch of colors and I have pre-picked some pieces to work with, but when I work with, when I have this many photos, I tend not to do a ton of embellishing. So I'm going to go ahead, get you guys put on fast forward. So let's get going. Just in case you're wondering, the reason I chose the Urban Luxe collection is because that purpley pinky blue is the same color that the lighting scheme is. You know, that neon-y purple light that they have at bowling alleys? Well, it was very much prevalent in quite a few of my photos, so that's why I decided to go with this collection. Now, you'll see here I have 3x4 horizontal photos, and then 2 4x6 horizontal photos as well. So in the sketch, it calls for 6 3x3 photos. I'm adding an extra half an inch to that. So rather than cutting my paper that's going to go on the left-hand side to 3x3s, I'm going to cut it to 3.5x3. So that way it fits the the height of my photos. So right here, what I'm doing is I'm making sure the photos that are going to run on the right-hand side of my layout are, make sure how tall they run, which is 7 inches. And now I'm trimming all of my papers, both the 3.5x3s, and then also I'm trimming the offcuts of the 3x3.5s to, I think it's like a 1.5x2 approximately, and those are what I'm going to use as my banner pieces. Because they are tucked behind the photos, I don't need my papers to be full length. So you see here, all I'm doing is I do a little trim in the center of the piece of paper, and then I cut from the corner up to the point where I cut in the center. Now for this one, because I'm wanting to have the majority of them look like they're the exact same angle, I'm taking the piece I cut previous to it and just placing it on top. So it's not 100% accurate, but it's pretty close. And as far as I'm concerned, pretty close is good enough. So now I've jumped ahead and I've trimmed all my banners out, and now I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm actually going to do is pull my photos off and glue down the papers that are going to be on the left-hand side. So on the left-hand side of this layout, there's going to be the 6 3.5 by 3s plus that one horizontal photo of my stepfather and I, and then on the right-hand side of the layout will be the rest of my photos. So I'm laying these photos out. I'm laying out the pattern papers, and I'm trying to get a good mix with that pink spread out. Now, I do have the black and white over the cream and white, but I'm okay with that because that cream, I'm sorry, not cream and white, cream and black, because that cream actually almost reads like a yellow, and the yellow that's also in that geode paper as well. So once I get these down, and they're not perfect, the papers are a little, I think they're just slightly longer than 6 inches, so they run off the paper just a little bit, like literally like a 1/16 of an inch. So you're going to see me in a little bit trim it up. But I really do end up loving how this page turned out. Usually with Scrapbook Generation, I do not get as technical as they do. I don't tend to measure my papers, but because I wanted the whole structure to line up from end to end, I did go ahead and end up pretty much using my T-square ruler and measuring everything up correctly, which is like something usually, as I said, usually that's not something I do. Now I'm taking this micro stripe paper, and that's what I'm using as the little edging pieces that are in the sketch. Now, I'm just going to take 2 6 by 6 pieces, trim 1/2 inch, and then, of course, here comes Ms. Xanthi. Yes, she does make several appearances in this layout because she was being obnoxious. But currently, I'm working on the bottom part of my layout, so I can just let her be. I find that if I let her sit there for a little while and she gets in her time, she just gives up the ghost of laying on my layout. Not all the time, but some of the time it does work out that way. So as I was saying, I just line up those 6 by 6 pieces, well, not 6 by 6, but originally they were 6 by 6. And because it's such a micro stripe, you cannot tell where one begins and one ends, and I just add a little bit of liquid glue to reinforce the edge that was kind of picking up just a little bit. So I'm going to cut away. Xanthi has given up the ghost, and now I'm going ahead. I have this piece turned upside down, and so I'm finishing off the micro stripe paper on the top edge of my paper. Now here's the thing. I may not actually, I don't remember if I flip it back around or if I keep it like that. We'll see what happens in the end. I have no idea. I don't remember at this point. So now I am laying that all out so you see the full double page layout. Yeah, no, I did turn it back around. There you go. So what I did was I took this 4 by 6 and I trimmed it down just a little bit so I could mat it on this kind of Aztecian pattern in that indigo color, which is so beautiful. It's a color I love to do, and I don't get to use it a lot because it is so dark, but because of the, as I said, the coloring of this, of the lighting in the bowling alley, it really worked out to the advantage for using this color. So talking about this trip, it was kind of funny because normally when my stepfather and I go out and do something, we either go out to a restaurant and we eat, or we go to a movie. And I was like, you know, I want to do something different. So I was thinking about something we could do that was an activity. And I was kind of just like looking up things to do in my area. And this popped up. This is actually in the town next to us. There's like one of those really, it's like a posh bowling alley. Like they have all the fancy stuff. You know, so anyway, I said, hey, now my stepfather actually used to bowl quite a bit with my mother. Back when I was a teenager, they were actually part of a league and everything. So I'm like, hey, why don't we go bowling? And he was kind of like, oh, okay, sure. And we actually had a really great time. And we were like, hey, we should totally do this like on a monthly basis and blah, blah, blah. Can I mention this was January 2020? So everyone knows what happened in February 2020. The world kind of closed down. So needless to say, we have not gone bowling again. All right, I should probably talk about the layout. As you can see, I used my T-square ruler to line up those banners. I made sure that the edges of them came up underneath where the stripe paper would be, and now I'm just doing the same that I did with the other side, which is laying down the stripe paper so that they line up with the left-hand side of the page. So now I've got all of my paper glued down, and as I said, I really love the way this layout turned out. I really miss basic gray as a line in general, and especially it hurts my heart when I see their fabric, which I know obviously people who do sewing projects and quilting projects are probably love the fact that basic gray does fabric. I, however, miss the fact that they don't work with paper products anymore. Woohoo! Words came out of my mouth. Yay! All right, so now I have everything where it should be. And I'm going to go ahead, and apparently I just realized that my layout was crooked, so I apologize for that. I'm going to go ahead and lay out my photos. As I said, I've got a photo of our feet in the bowling shoes. I've got a photo of our scores. Just so you know, we played 3 games. I won the first one, and my stepfather won the last 2. And as I mentioned, but I was saying to him, just so you know, I can bowl a good first game, but that's it. Then my wrist says, I don't want to do this anymore. And that proved to be completely true. I got over 100 on my, I am not a good bowler. I am a adequate bowler at best. So I scored my best game the first game, and then, like I said, my wrist goes, ow, you are tired and old. Please don't do this anymore. So I've got the photo of the outside of the place. I've got the photo of the bowling alleys, all of the alleys in our area, and then, as I said, the one of the shoes and the one of the scoreboard. I don't even know. It might just have been like when we were 0-0, basically just to see our names on the scoreboard. And then I do have one action shot of my stepfather rolling a ball. So now that I've got all the photos down, minus the main photo of our faces, I bring out all of the embellishments. And just so you know, Xanthi is going to make another appearance here because she's an obnoxious brat. So I get that glued down, and I have, see, here she is, obnoxious brat. I have those 2 big die cuts, and I really believe those are from the Urban Luxe collection, but because all I had was the 6x6 paper pad, I think I just broke them down and put them in a little container that holds all my purple and gray die cuts, because I have my non-collection kitted die cuts broken down by color into little DVD envelopes. So I've got that one over on the right-hand side with the pink and purple flowers, and then I have the one over by the left-hand photo. And then layered over that is a heart die cut that I actually made back when I was doing some embellishment creations, like embellishment cluster creations. And what that is just a heart die cut that I put washi tape over a piece of white cardstock and then die cut out that heart. I then layered the phrase die cut over it, and then I also have that little file tab where it has January 2020 on it as well. So I also did my journaling on that sticker, and that's kind of one of those things, I have no idea where it came from. It just wound up in my stash. Don't you have those too, where you have this embellishment or piece of paper and you literally have no idea where it came from? I decided to add some enamel dots. Please tell me I'm not the only one who has like the random mystery supplies. Please, because that would be crazy if that's the case. So I think about moving that file tab because of my title, but I decide, no, it really looks the best at the top of my photo. From this thicker word collection, I think this is from a Vicky Boutin one, but I'm not 100% sure. It could be Chamel. It could be any random American crafts designer. I really have no idea. So I pull out the word let's go, and then I'm going to use a secondary alpha, and this one I do know is from the Amy Tangerine Picnic in the Park spring line. And I'm going to use the white holographic alphas, and I'm going to spell out the word bowling. So let's go bowling is my entire title. Very on the nose with this particular title. But hey, you know, sometimes you got to go with the go-to one. So once I get this laid down, I am going to cut ahead. Now, I will say on the video, it's not the clearest being over that creamy yellow colored, but in real life, it is totally readable. If you have any doubt about that, stay tuned to the end of the video. There are close-ups of all of my embellishment clusters, as well as a final photo of my entire layout. Now, to finish off this layout, I'm just going to add some Shimmers Vibes mists in Rip Van Periwinkle and Sweetheart, which I will say match perfectly with this particular line. So I was super happy about that. That is going to finish off today's layout. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you don't forget, it would be great if you could flick me a thumbs up because it really does help my channel get seen by others. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I hope you are having a fabulous time, whatever you happen to be doing. Bye!